On the field. Off the field. Sports talk. Entertainment and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 96 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, Dippers, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Mr. Leighton Bibb Shaventone.
To everybody out there upset about Game of Thrones this year,
Oh my, I knew you were going with this. Continue.
shut up. It was really good TV. You know it was. You didn't get what you wanted, so now you're going to cry about it.
And our guest host today, Mr. Jared Diesel Darty.
If you're a person who thinks the maturity level rises with income potential, look no further than Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson.
I like that. So, Dippers, be sure to follow on Spotify and iTunes. Download, subscribe, give us that 5-star review. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at TheSaucyPod. So today we're going to have an NBA postseason update. We will talk NBA draft lottery, and it looks like Zion will be going to the Pelicans. A little bit of NFL news and notes, and a little MLB chatter. We will have the top 5 power ranking for you guys today. So let's dive right on in. NBA postseason, we've had the Western Conference Finals. Despite KD's absence, the Warriors are leading the Blazers 3-0, potential to have a sweep tonight. Guys, what so far has been the biggest difference?
Drake, last week we gave the biggest keys to the series. I said Steph Curry, you said Damian Lillard, and so far we've both been right. This series, Steph is scoring 35 points a game on 47% from the field and 41% from 3. Meanwhile, Damian Lillard is scoring 20 points a game on 32% from the field.
Yeah, I think Steph, Draymond Green, and Clay are just better than CJ and Dame. I think that's basically what's going on. Steph Curry's free throw shooting late in games, it's like unbelievable. What's he at, like 70-something free throws now in a row in the first quarter overtime?
I don't think he's missed one in like 4
Since
years.
2015, yeah. I mean, the game's over if it's close. I mean,
yeah, all you have to do is get the ball in Steph's hands.
But really, look at Draymond Green. In this series, he leads the series, not just the Warriors. He leads the series in rebounds, assists, blocks, and he's second in steals.
That's some LeBron stuff.
Yeah, Draymond Green.
That's a hell of a stat line there.
Yeah, Draymond Green, not even get that 20-10-10 game. That was only his 5th 20-10 game of his career. The other 4 came in 2016. They went like 73-9.
Wow. I see an underlying factor there with Kevin Durant being on the floor.
And Draymond Green also leads not just the Warriors, the entire playoffs in assists.
Yeah, but I think we've basically hit it in totality. I mean, you look at what C.J. McCollum was shooting coming into this series in the postseason. He was at 45%. I mean, the guy was absolutely money from mid-range, cannot find the basket. He's shooting at 37%. And Damian Lillard came into this series in the postseason shooting 43%. Now he's shooting at 32%. So he's completely fallen off the face of the earth. And really, he didn't play that phenomenal last series. And, you know, after the OKC series, everybody was talking about, Damian Lillard, he's this good of a point guard. He's the second best point guard in the NBA. Well, now it seems like he's regressed back to his mean now that he actually has a decent defender and Klay Thompson and probably Andre Iguodala guarding him. In my opinion, I feel like this whole entire series was basically summarized in one play. The last play that the Blazers had a chance, I believe it was Game 2, it was either 2 or 3 to tie the game up. It was basically a Damian Lillard ISO on Andre Iguodala, shoots up a prayer from 3, and gets the ball stripped from him. So I think it's that the Warriors' defense is just that much better than the Blazers' offense. And the Blazers, they have to have a good offensive performance, borderline great every single night, just to beat this Warriors team.
And I might get the scores flipped, but in Game 1 and Game 2 and Game 3, the Blazers were up by like 18 points and then 17 points. And then in the fourth quarter, their 2 big guys, they like combined like 2 for 20 or something.
And I think they even went up by 8 with like 4 minutes to go and did not score again for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I know Lillard's ribs are hurt or whatever, and that definitely doesn't help, but
And another thing
Got
that
to
I
make
think
shots.
Absolutely.
In the fourth quarter, yeah.
Another thing that I feel like has just basically summed it up is how fast these Warriors can score. I know I was watching the game. They were up by 16 points. I went into the kitchen, microwaved some food. By the time I was standing there at the microwave, just doing that thing that you always do at the microwave, you just like watch it and wait it until it gets to 1 second, then you open it up so you don't have to hear the buzzer. Right before I heard the buzzer, I go to open up the microwave and I hear, and now we have a 3-point game. Just in time for me to cook stuff. I think it was a minute and a half of game time. They had rallied off 13 straight points.
So, I don't do that thing. I listen to the buzz on the microwave.
You don't?
I listen to it. I just let it go off and then go get it.
I generally put in a time that's way higher than what I need and then take it out early, yeah.
Yeah, you either hear the smoke detector going or your food's done. One or the other there. So, guys, what do the Blazers have to do to avoid the sweep?
I don't think they're going to be able to avoid the sweep. I think it's over. The Warriors see the Bucks basically being more dominant in the postseason. They know they need this extra rest, not just for them but Kevin Durant. This series is over. I don't think anything Portland can do other than shoot better.
To be a smart ass, they need to win game 4 to avoid the sweep. But I think they can win 1, but that's it. I mean, just looking back at the leads they did have in games 2 and 3, but I mean, the series is over. 4 or 5 games. There's no way it's going past that.
Yeah, I think you just have to make shots. That's the easy answer. They just have to make shots because that's one thing that they're not doing. But I will be very, very surprised if this team is able to avoid a sweep. So, guys, is there any truth to the fact that the Warriors are actually better without Kevin Durant?
I don't think so at all. Just saying it doesn't make any sense. But watching the game, you can see how they could be. But really, Steph's just making more shots. In the Houston series, he shot 28% from 3. This series, without Kevin Durant, he's shooting 4 more threes per game and shooting 41%. Clay's shooting better. Draymond Green's putting up triple doubles again. So basically, no, Steph's just making shots he didn't make last series.
Yeah, do players see an uptick in their production? For sure. They are going to have better stat lines. But you're replacing, in Kevin Durant's career in in Golden State, he averages 37 and 4.5 in the playoffs. So you're replacing that with your team. Obviously, guys are going to look better. Team's going to look better, and this team did win without him, but is this a better team without Kevin Durant? Absolutely not. I mean, the last 2 years in the finals, he just closed them out. There are things he can do that other people cannot on that team.
So this is going to sound weird saying what I'm about to say.
I'm not going to be shocked by this, I don't feel.
I think this is addition by subtraction. I think that this team is good enough to win a title over the last 3 years, including this year, without Kevin Durant. They could have won the last 2 without Kevin Durant. So they were just that good. Something I want to compare it to would be similar to whenever Kyrie Irving's on the floor and having a really, really, really good game, but the Boston Celtics still losing games. So Kyrie is obviously the best player on the Boston Celtics. Kevin Durant is obviously the best player on the Warriors. But it seems like everybody else's play gets elevated, and I don't even know if it's those players' fault. I think it's everybody else's fault because they get stuck in a weird spot just standing there watching one guy take over the game. And everybody else's play elevates whenever that guy's not on the floor and makes the team in totality better. I want to rattle off some stats that I have from the postseason so far. So, the Warriors are playing without Kevin Durant and could probably get their first sweep of this postseason. In 11 games with Kevin Durant, this team averaged 19 assists per game. In the 4 games without Kevin Durant, that number has climbed to 28 assists per game. That's not by accident. I mean, this team it obviously shares the ball more. You see it with Draymond Green's production, and obviously you saw Terry Rozier's production go way up whenever Kyrie's off the floor, but that's just because he's getting more minutes. Draymond Green is on the floor the same amount of time as he has been the entire of the postseason, but his numbers do improve. I can't say that their talent level is better with Kevin Durant, but I think as a team, this team is better without Kevin Durant.
They run the offense that Steve Kerr. The system that Steve Kerr made, they actually do it without Kevin Durant because Steph calls the offense every time now, and every time the entire offense is about getting a switch onto Steph for it to be a center, or they just go through back screens and get open shots. With Kevin Durant, he isolates himself.
Yeah, it's iso ball.
And since no one else on the team can really do that because Clay's that kind of player. Steph a lot of times too short to do that to tall guys. They run the offense. Yeah. That's the difference you're seeing now.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those weird spots where, it's similar to like football. Whenever, I'm more scared of the Eagles with a guy like Nick Foles, who's obviously not as good as Carson Wentz, but it seems like the whole entire game switches because he is kind of more daring with the ball than Carson Wentz. And I feel like teams can do this kind of thing where you have two players who one is heads and shoulders better than the other one, but for some reason things just work better with the other guy because other players are coming out and actually elevating their game. It's the weirdest. This might be one of the weirdest things in sports. If they continue this, win this series, go on, dominate the Bucks, which I think the Bucks could potentially win that series. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be one of the biggest outliers in sports history. How this team continually seems to get better without Kevin Durant, even though Kevin Durant's probably the best player in basketball.
Yeah, no, I mean...
It's honestly that they just never get worse. Even back to 2015, was that the first year that they won a championship?
14
was? And then did they lose in 15?
They've been good for a long time.
They lost 16-7. No.
But, I mean, there's basically no regression.
I remember. They've been very good for 5 years in a row now.
Yeah.
That's what we know.
I just don't get it. This is really weird.
Culture. I think culture is a big part of it, too.
Yeah. And you think about it, they also lost Boogie, too. Mm-hmm. And, Boogie...
that one might have been addition by subtraction.
Yes.
They've been 30 games all season.
That one might be easier to even say.
Yeah, it's weird. But do you think that this is actually going to affect Kevin Durant's image if they do, just completely get a clean sweep of Portland? We don't even have to say that they win a title, even if they just sweep Portland.
No, I don't think so, because, I don't know why we're all even shocked that they go against Portland without Kevin Durant, because Portland couldn't challenge them, we all knew it. People were down in Nuggets couldn't even challenge them. And now we saw Portland play good against the Nuggets, now we thought they were good as the Warriors, when we knew they weren't. We shouldn't be surprised by this at all. If Kevin Durant can't play in the finals, and then they go on to beat Toronto or Milwaukee, though, then I think you look at it and go, okay, this team would definitely be better without Kevin Durant. But not for being the Trailblazers. From
a basketball standpoint, his ability or what he does to a team, any of that, I don't think it hurts Kevin Durant's. I don't think it hurts the way he looks at all. I think the only way it makes him look negative is it just shows that he's getting older and he's still injury prone. And if you have him all season and he gets you to the second or third round of the playoffs and then you don't have him there, it's a lot of money a year to not have your best guy. I think it just shows the possibility of that or the reality of that.
I feel like this is going to be one of those legacy things where, now we're oh, we still know Kevin Durant's, really, really freaking good. But, years from now, people are going to tell the story of the time that Kevin Durant was with the Warriors. Everybody's going to talk about how they were dominant before him, and whenever he got hurt in the postseason, they were still really, really good. And since Kevin Durant has inked his contract to play for the Warriors, in games that he has missed, but Steph Curry has played, this team's 31-1, and I think that does. I think that plays into it a little bit, just legacy.
And could you argue that? Let's say for the last 5 years, could you say? Is there an argument that Steph Curry has been a better player than Kevin Durant?
Yeah,
he has
over
more MVPs
over the last 5 years. Yes, you could.
Yeah, you can say that more
because he has 2 MVPs in that time.
Yeah. And he's been the best shooter ever over that period of time.
Yeah.
It's something we immediately just jumped to. That's Kevin Durant, but
yeah, no. Well, it's weird because it still is always Steph's team. It will always be Steph's team. But everybody just accepts that Kevin Durant's the best player. And then whenever Kevin Durant's not there, it's well, okay, maybe Steph is better. But then as soon as Steph or Kevin Durant comes back on the floor, I completely expect it to go straight back to Kevin Durant ISO ball, and they just sit all their shooters out waiting for something, and then Draymond Green's not even going to get guarded at the top of the key. That's exactly what I expect from this team whenever they're out there. So guys, if the Blazers lose this game tonight, I think that'll make 3 straight times that they've been into the postseason and ended up being swept. Where really do the Blazers go from here? So
look at the cap space for next season. Basically, they lose Aminu, which frees up $8 million of cap space. So they can't go get a big-name free agent. They can either remake Aminu or sign a few complimentary pieces. But basically, they just got to hope that Kawhi stays in the East, that KD goes to the East, and just regroup for next season.
Yeah, I think they've taken steps forward. They look like more of a... I honestly think the sweep in last year's playoffs might have been more of a fluke than they're getting to the East or Western Conference Finals this year. But I mean, at this point, they've just got to ride with their two guards and hope that they can not lose Nurkic and then build better pieces around him.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I know I give the Blazers a lot of flack because they seem to get swept every single year. And it's kind of like the Blazers that we expected, just now, they just basically prolonged their death. But everybody's gotten better on this team. Like, everybody can sit there and say, like, Damian Lillard has become, you know, a top 3 point guard. C.J. McCollum has put his hat in to being at an all-star level. He can perform in these big games. Now they're getting guys like Zach Collins who are finally starting to get better. I don't know what they're going to do about the Enes Kanter, Nurkic situation whenever that comes back around. But I think that they just have to pray. At the end of the day, they just have to pray that those guys leave. Mm-hmm. Like, Kevin Durant leaves, maybe one of the pieces of Golden State leave. Because, I mean, really, if, you know, Clay leaves in free agency, Draymond leaves, they're set. Mm-hmm. They might be the best team in the West. But, yeah, I think anything in their control will not be able to help them going into next year. So, guys, we'll go ahead and switch it up and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. So they say that a series hasn't started until a road team wins a playoff game. This series, I guess, has not started. The Bucks are leading 2-1. Guys, so what have you learned so far of this series?
Honestly, not a ton. I've been really sure that the Bucks are a very good, dominant basketball team. But really I learned that Kawhi might have the best gas tank in the history of the NBA. He's averaging 44 minutes a game this series and shooting 45% and scoring 33 points. He's already at 4th overall in playoff minutes, and that's 60 minutes behind Lillard, who's number 1. Lillard had a game 7 under his belt. So, Kawhi's out there just putting on a show, and yeah.
Really, I can't decide. It's weird for me to say this because Giannis is going to win the MVP of the regular season, but I can't decide who the best player in the series is. I don't know if it's Giannis. I don't know if it's Kawhi. Kawhi, like, the Raptors are nothing without Kawhi Leonard. This particular Raptors team.
Oh, yeah. They're toast without him.
He plays so many minutes. He scores 10 points more a game or has this series than Giannis. And then last night, or the last game, I got the stat written down somewhere. He guarded Giannis for 41 possessions. And in those possessions, Giannis had 4 points and 2 turnovers.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize that.
I mean, and he's scoring 33 points a game. I don't know. But then you look at Giannis' stat line. We're saying he's playing bad. He's averaging 22, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and 3 blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I really struggle. I think that the Bucks are a little too reliant, or the Raptors are too reliant on Kawhi Leonard, and the Bucks are going to ultimately win the series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at this series like Brook Lopez doesn't score a single point in one game, and then the very next game he drops like 27 points. Just another send-off from Magic Johnson's days and with the Lakers. But really, this Raptors team is one of the weirdest things I've seen. You have a guy who's supposed to be your veteran point guard, which veteran point guards are supposed to be the guys that you are reliant on in the postseason, especially whenever they're an all-star almost every single year. And you have a game by Kyle Lowry who scores 30 points in the first time in a postseason game since 2016, and they still managed to lose. I feel like I'm just reassured that the Bucks are this good. Like, the Bucks have already tied the postseason record for most 20-point wins in postseason history. So, I mean, they go out, beat the Raptors by 20 points one more time. They are in sole possession of postseason wins by 20 points, which is pretty substantial to do in the postseason. But Game 3, I think, is the most telling of how far apart these two teams are realistically. Because Game 3, the Raptors have home court advantage. Giannis and Chris Middleton combined for 21 points. The Bucks miss 11 free throws, have 20 turnovers, and the Raptors win in 2 overtimes. So I don't see how the Raptors... I said last week how I thought that this series would be over in 5, maybe 6 since they were able to win Game 3. But I just feel like the Bucks are just that much better than this team. And Kyle Lowry, who I've dogged on almost this entire postseason, I don't know what the hell he's doing out there. How often do we see a guard in foul trouble? It's basically never. Mm-hmm. Like, they give you 6 fouls in the NBA for a reason, and Kyle Lowry's out there trying to use every single one of them. I mean, In Game 1, he has 5 fouls. In Game 2, he has 4 fouls by halftime. And then Game 3, he fouls out before overtime. Guess what happens? Fred VanVleet steps on the court, shoots like 1 for 10, and they still outscore the Bucks in the overtime. So I don't understand how Kyle Lowry can be this premier all-star year in and year out, and then just come into the playoffs and cannot even hold his own against Eric Bledsoe without picking up 4 fouls before halftime. I don't know. I that's one thing that I will definitely never understand with that. But guys, I hit on the Bucks. How dominant they've been this postseason. Already tied the record for most 20 points wins. Is this a team that if they are able to pull off the title, are they going to be one of those teams that we look back as being historically good?
So, yeah, I think so. We looked today and looked at some numbers just historically. History of the NBA, only 14 teams have averaged 118 points per game, and they're one of them. Of those 14 teams, only 2 of the teams have won 60 games. The Bucks are one, and then 1984 Lakers the other one. And they're also only one of 2 teams to have 105 defensive rating, then the Lakers as well. And throughout the season, including the postseason, they only lost 6 games for 10 or more points. And just this postseason, they've won 6 games for 20 or more points.
Timeout. This whole entire season, they've only lost 6 games by 20 or more points.
By 10 or more points.
10 or more.
Yeah. So double digits 6 times.
This whole season.
They lost, yes. Including postseason. They lost.
Wow.
And they've beat 6 teams by 20 or more points this in the postseason.
That's insane.
So, yeah, I think you can say they're the most dominant teams.
I think they're going to be considered historically good whether they win the championship or not. If they get there, if they win this series and go, you've got a one-of-a-kind player in Giannis. You've got all the things he just said to back it up. Like, that stat line he has with 22 and 18 and the blocks and the assists and everything, Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq and, maybe a couple other people in the history of the game can do that.
That's
none of those other great guards that, the MJs, Kobe's, all that, or LeBron even. That's bizarre.
No, it is. It is. I agree, though. I think this is going to be a team that, if they manage to win the title, has to go down as one of those teams that, if they end up beating the Warriors and basically Kevin Durant leaves and kind of start the end of the Warriors' legacy there, they have to be one of the best teams of all time. And really, it kind of does it kind of bother you that everybody's basically talking about how the NBA championship has already been played with the Rockets and Warriors?
Yeah, I heard that a few
I've heard
times,
it a lot.
and I think the Bucks are better than the Rockets probably.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this in there just for some little fun talking segments. It's not the shittiest take of the week because Skip Bayless already put that on lock. So I was listening to Ryan Hollins. He had played in the NBA for quite a few years. I think he lost his. I don't know. I think he got cut by the Kings the last time he was in the NBA. He was talking about how Giannis isn't ready for this. Giannis isn't ready to play Golden State. Giannis hasn't elevated his game to be able to keep up with the Warriors. And the Warriors have already played the NBA championship by beating the Rockets. And basically the East is just so much worse than the West. And there's 10 teams in the West. He said there are 10 teams in the West that would beat the Bucks in a playoff series.
Yeah, no. I don't think so.
No. Hell no.
He
thought that the Clippers would sweep them.
The Clippers.
The Clippers. He said that the Clippers would sweep them.
Okay. Dude, man, some of the shit Skip says,
No, this wasn't Skip. No, this was Ryan Hollins.
What is up with these guys that played on those, 08 Celtics teams? They're all just loopy as hell.
They went crazy. There's no telling what.
Because they're the last real champion, the last real defensive minded.
Do you think that there's any chance that there was a locker room brawl that we didn't hear about that Rajon Rondo and Kendrick Perkins beat the sense out of all of them?
Kevin Garnett beat the shit out of a couple of them too.
I really think that's the only thing that we can point to, because obviously this guy, he doesn't have them all. I mean,
that's just stupid to say.
Yes,
it really is.
I was sitting there in the car and it was 1 o'clock in the morning radio, and I'm like, man, this is rough. I don't know how this guy pulls this off. But yeah, he specifically said that Giannis wasn't ready for this, and the Bucks would probably get swept by the Clippers.
I don't know. I feel like Giannis. Wait, when did he say this?
This was the other night.
So it was within the past 2 months?
Dude, this was within the last week. I think this might have been Saturday night.
So the Bucks having no hiccups at all until last night?
Yeah, this was before they lost the game in the
Clippers' last press conference, they admitted they couldn't guard the 7-foot Kevin Durant. They just said, we can't guard him. He's special. We can't guard him. You
Yes.
throw another 7-footer at him. You think they're going to be able to stop him? Well,
No, and especially one that's way better around the rim than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but like the same matchup problem, basically.
Yeah, I don't get that. So, guys, who's going to win this series? It's 2-1 right now. Bucks are leading. Who wins this series? How many games?
Bucks in 5.
Bucks and 6.
I'm going Bucks in 5. I thought both these would be quick work, and I'm gonna have to stick to my prediction.
I honestly thought that the Raptors would win last night's game more handily than they did, but that's nothing more of information that I needed to make it Bucks in 5.
Yeah, that was by far the worst game that the Bucks are going to play, and they still lost. Or they only lost in 2 overtimes. So the Bucks are just heads and shoulders above the Raptors.
Do you think that the Bucks are by far best team in the Eastern Conference?
Yes, I don't think Kyle Lowry's going to rain on their parade.
You don't think the Clippers could sweep them?
I'm not going to guarantee it, but I don't think they would.
So this means that the Clippers would beat the Pistons 8-2 times?
Yeah.
Any more thoughts for us?
Yes, I do.
It was all a dream. I used to read Run Up magazine.
Kyle Lowry fouls out in the fourth quarter of Game 3. Raptors win by 6 in 2 overtimes. Dale Curry, 2 Suns in the NBA Western Conference Finals. Dale Curry, LaVar Ball dresses up as you for Superhero Day at Chino Hills. New York fans prayed all year that they would land the best player from Duke this year. The lottery has come and went, and New York fans, you're stuck with Daniel Jones. Tyreek Evans, living proof that there is nothing to do in Indianapolis. Adam Gase only gets worse with more power. New York Jets have given him all the power. Adam Gase. Deron Lee got drafted with a first-round pick in 2017. Gase trades him for a 6th. Zeke Elliott versus music festivals is my all-time favorite off-season battle. Spike Lee is to Drake like Del Curry is to LaVar Ball. NBA lottery. They tell us every year it's not rigged. Spoiler alert, the Lakers get number 4 pick. And there's a new book out this week. It's titled, We Shouldn't Spend Big Money on a Running Back Even Though We Have $60 million Logged on a Running Back. And it was written by Adam Gase. And those have been my thoughts. Alright guys, we'll go ahead and go to the NBA trade lottery. Pelicans get the rights to draft Zion Williamson with the number 1 pick. What do the Pelicans need to do to make Zion's time in NOLA a happy one?
Honestly, I think they need to get rid of Anthony Davis. Just Anthony Davis doesn't want to be there. Just get either multiple young players or a really high pick. I mean, I think that's pretty much what it comes down to. I think just kind of starting fresh, having Zion there. That you can go whatever route you want with the pick you get or the players you get. But I think having a fresh start and not letting him see the star that they just mistreated, and let him be your mentor.
Yeah, but I think they have to trade the Knicks for the Knicks number 3 pick. I think the Knicks should want it just as bad because the Knicks have to get Anthony Davis after not getting Zion Williamson. They come to the contract, trade AD for the number 3 pick, 2 more first-round picks, Dennis Smith Jr. and Mario Hezonja, and then they sign guys to 1-year deals and just go round by round. That way you have another young player there who's also Zion's best friend, and who will pay the best friend.
Exactly. I think you hit it on the head there, basically, with both your guys' thoughts there. I mean, what kind of image are you going to put out that that your franchise takes care of their best players by letting Anthony Davis, who wants out of the locker room more than anybody in the NBA, to be the mentor for Zion Williamson? That's death. That's like immediate death. The guy walks in day one, he sees a top 5 NBA player in the league in there at practice, and the guy's like, yeah, this franchise sucks, dude. You don't want to be here. And that's the first thing this dude's going to see whenever he walks into the gym in New Orleans. So I think that, the Knicks already came out and said that if they got the number 1 pick, they'd trade whatever they needed for Zion Williamson there, or for Anthony Davis. So why don't you just go out, get that number 3 pick, get R.J. Barrett there, get Dennis Smith Jr. Could you imagine? It would just be so fun to watch. Like Dennis Smith Jr., he's competed in a dunk contest. He's one of the highest flyers at the guard position. Him with Zion Williamson. I'm not saying that that's a team that can win basketball games, but it can at least put asses in the seats. And at this point, that's what you're looking for with a young core group of players like that. So you go out, you get rid of Drew Holiday, just basically sell him to the highest bidder. You start from fresh with Zion Williamson and a bunch of young guys. Get Zion's one of his best friends there, R.J. Barrett, and I think you have something to build on. People talked about how great this team, that Duke team, was loaded down with NBA talent. Now you're going to get the two best players off of that team. I think it's an absolute slam dunk for the Pelicans to be in this position, not of trading Anthony Davis last year, which everybody laughed at him and mocked him. Yes, if they would have done that, they might have gotten that pick that the Lakers would have at 4 with a couple extra pieces around it. But if you trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers, there's no guarantee that they would have been that high up in the lottery. I know that their odds would have decreased. It's not like they had great chances to land at 4 anyways. And they could have potentially made the playoffs had Anthony Davis been there. So I think that they're sitting in the driver's seat basically to stamp their ticket to the playoffs in like 3 years. So the Pelicans, probably the luckiest team I've ever seen.
Well, their franchise was in shambles.
Yes.
And then it just fell in their lap.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's not like this.
And Zion, like, you don't know what he's going to turn into, but certainly looks like he could be a franchise-changing player.
I think it's safe to say that Zion's the biggest lock to at least make an all-star team in NBA history.
Well, you see, Fletcher actually said he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah?
Fletcher actually said this.
Wow.
Yeah, because he kind of touched into a corner, said he'd be Charlie Barkley, said he'll Hall of Fame. Fletcher goes, yeah, he has to be.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can...
Just seeing him score in college and no one could stop him down low, it's like... Sure, a couple like Rudy Gobert probably going to send his shit a few times, but a lot of the NBA players aren't going to be able to get up there with him. They're not going to be able to stop him.
No, I mean, would you guys argue with me at all if I said I guarantee Zion to go for 15-8 this year?
No.
Guarantee it. At least.
8 might be high, but no.
I don't know, man. They're
But let's see.
I think the block and steal numbers too are going to be huge.
Oh, they're going to be huge.
Let's see how you adjust the 7 footers every night to get the 8 rebounds. He's only 6'7".
Well, the only guy he really struggled against was freaking Taco Fall, who's like 12 feet tall, who's probably going to get drafted just because he's a tower. I don't know.
That's not a tower.
I absolutely love how the Pelicans have completely just mismanaged this thing and watched it all blow up in their faces, and now they're just sitting there looking like the smartest team in the room. So, guys, the Knicks came out prior to the lottery and said that they would have traded the number 1 pick for Anthony Davis. Would that have been the right move to make if you're the Knicks?
I think so, yeah. Because if you are talking about bringing in Kevin Durant, bringing Kyrie Irving, you might as well go get a third max contract guy and just lock all 3 of them up and see what you can do. No point bringing a 19-year-old and hope he can be something good. You have a guaranteed superstar, not a star superstar, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, so I think that from the Pelicans' perspective, they need to trade Anthony Davis for picks. But from the Knicks, I think it'd be a bad move to trade for Anthony Davis. Again, who's the last contender not named San Antonio Spurs whose best player is a big man? And granted, they might get Kevin Durant, but still, like, even a focal piece being a big man, it just doesn't work anymore. And Anthony Davis hasn't, like, great player, top 5 player probably, top 10 for sure.
I don't agree with that.
He just, I don't know, he's never done anything.
You can totally have a big man be a focal point. Look at
I don't think so.
Who
Draymond Green, Kevin Love, go back to Chris
naturally
Bosh.
Probably a small forward or power forward.
But I
Chris
just
Bosh was the third option.
Yeah, Chris Bosh stood in the corner and just hit threes occasionally.
Well, are you going to say that Anthony Davis is worse than any of those guys? No.
No, Anthony Davis
he could actually be a second, third best guy on championship team.
Maybe third, second. Yeah,
but
he could be the second best player on.
I just feel like it's a very short-sighted thing for the Knicks to do, and it's just the things
to guarantee him 1 year.
It's the things that perpetually make them bad. Like, they've got to have a change in belief and just how they handle drafts in general. Like, you could lock up 10 years of really good talent, maybe a generational player, and this is assuming it was the number 1 pick. But, like, I don't think I would make the trade.
No, I don't think I would have either, because, you know, the question mark with Anthony Davis is that he continually gets hurt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Zion's only had the 1 hiccup, and he came back looking maybe better than what he was prior to his injury. I don't think it would have been smart, because all you're going to do is basically just guarantee yourself 1 year of Anthony Davis, who, if he doesn't have a good time there, which it seems like nobody has a good time being Kevin Durant's teammate, who you're going to pair him with, and then they're going to pray that they get Kyrie Irving, who's probably been the biggest team cancer in the NBA over the last 4 years outside of Boogie Cousins. The only way they could have won
My
any better
boys.
with that is bring in Kyrie Irving to play alongside Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins just to piss Anthony Davis off so he leaves after 1 year of play. Where you could go out and get Zion Williamson, who you're guaranteed 4 years of a good player, and then you add on those like the team options and all that. So you're getting him at a discount where you're going to have to pay Anthony Davis the second that he walks into the door, and then you're going to have to worry about locking him in for longer. Where you get a guy like Zion, who Zion may never be as good as Anthony Davis, but he gives you a better chance because then you can go out and sign more max guys and spend money elsewhere. Because I do agree with Jared that you cannot pay a big man a ton of money in the NBA and win championships. The Spurs are the only team over the last 10 years to do that.
Draymond Green, you pay a lot of money, so is Kevin Love, so is Chris Bosh, and so is Tim Duncan in his career. And so every year I feel like a big guy in the focal point of the team.
But Anthony Davis...
Other than Tim Duncan, no, I wouldn't say Draymond Green is... I would not call him a big in that sense. He's not what Anthony Davis is at all. He's a point forward. He's a defender, and he's a point forward on offense.
I agree. And you look at what Kevin Love did. Kevin Love...
He was scrutinized like hell too. I wouldn't say that he even really.
Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, Draymond Green, in the prime of what they did, basically stood in the corner and shot threes and got timely assists when they need them. I mean, Kevin Love.
Chris Bosh protected the rim a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not going to do what Anthony Davis is going to do. Go stand 5 feet away from the basket, turn his back around, and score 25 points a night doing that. None of those players did that on a championship team, and I don't think Anthony Davis. I don't think that Anthony Davis is the kind of player that you want to bring in if you're just trying to gear up and add on a bunch of talent to win a title. I get that he's good, but it just...
I don't think he's a championship
solution. Exactly. I don't
He's
think
not
he's a championship solution. I don't. I've been on that for a long time, that you can't pay bigs and win titles. Even though Kevin Love, I guess they paid him.
Technically, looking back at Kevin Love, Jay said he's being scrutinized. The fifth football on that team was Tristan Thompson. So, who's better? Anthony Davis, Tristan Thompson.
But you're not.
Come on.
Pay Tristan Thompson as much money as Anthony Davis would be paid.
No, Anthony Davis, dude.
Tristan Thompson, the year after they won, made $4 million less than AD will make next year.
Than AD will make next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Davis is more than $4 million better than Tristan Thompson.
But that's 1 year. That's 1 year. Do you know how much he's going to be up for after his next
He'll
contract?
be up for $28 million a year.
Off what?
If they want to extend him.
But honestly, now looking at Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, don't both of those bite the Cavs in the ass?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, but they still got one. You can't say it's a bad deal.
And there's no guarantee that they're going to go out and get another superstar to pair with Anthony Davis.
No, but you got Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, a fucking hell of a way to start a championship team.
That team wouldn't win a championship. I think they're good. I think they'd be really, really good. But it would be basically ISO ball through Kevin Durant with a big who I get that he's gotten down to where he can shoot threes. But now Anthony Davis is just going to revert back to standing in a corner and shooting threes.
I will say the Knicks are one of 5 franchises that could totally fuck that up.
Oh, they would.
But still, that's a damn good way to start out a team against Kevin Durant, and you go from there.
It is, but I would rather take the 6 years of Zion Williamson.
They can't get Zion Williamson in New York.
I know, but if
the question was worded with that number one pick being there.
Yeah, I just
still even Barrett though. I think.
Yeah, I definitely. I still stand firm that you cannot win with paying a big a ton of money and expect him to play as Anthony Davis plays. Now, if they stand in the corner and shoot threes and you have LeBron James, sure, that'll work out. But not too many people have LeBron James either. So, guys, the Lakers had the number 4 pick, like I said they would. I guaranteed a top 5 on last week's show, which confirmed the lottery is rigged. What do the Lakers need to do with the final bit of good fortune that they have been given?
Really, I think it's a 3-guy draft. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be some people after the top 3 that are going to be good players, but that 4 to 10 range, I don't necessarily know that the Lakers have been very good at evaluating that. The good picks they have found have been later, so I think that they try to find a way to get into the top 3 somehow, but I don't really know what that's going to take. I don't know if any of those teams are even going to give it up.
Yeah, I have trade for AD or another star player because LeBron's not getting any younger, not going to get any healthier, I guess, from this point forward. It's win now in LA.
It's got to be someone who can, if you don't get one of those 3 guys that can be a superstar,
yeah,
that player's not going to help you.
Yeah, LeBron can opt out in 2 years, so you have 2 year window to either win or make LeBron happy enough to try to win a third time.
I have a fun thought of this. What if they traded that number 4 pick in LeBron James for the number 1 pick for Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, and the number 1 pick?
I mean,
that could get interesting.
I don't think the Pelicans are going to trade with him now, though.
No, hell no. The Pelicans will not.
No, I did hear at the after lottery that the Pelicans will not trade the Lakers because
no matter what.
I can't remember his name, but the owner of the Pelicans is not like the Buss family or what has gone on there.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And
I feel like if it's going to make your team better, you should just go ahead and do it, no matter who's on the other side of the coin there.
Could you imagine if they would have done the Anthony Davis trade with the Lakers and they had like Lonzo and Kuzma and all those guys, and then they had the number 1 pick?
Oh, that'd been insane.
They could still probably get that trade.
Yeah, they could probably
still get that. And the 4th pick in the draft, too.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the Lakers are almost just treading in water if they go ahead and keep this pick and don't try to trade it for another big-name guy who wants out of a contract.
I just feel like whoever you take at 4 is just not going to be the guy. Like, could be a great player for another franchise, even the Lakers, but like not in the time frame that they need him to be.
Yeah.
If you use this pick as the Lakers for number 4, and you go out and you pick a player, you might win a championship, but it will not be with LeBron James. That player will not be there.
I don't think so. And the thing is, like, think about other player they could trade for. The one kind of my Bradley Beal, which then become this situation. Do you want to take the player at 4, you guys were saying, and have him for 4 years plus that contract, or trade it for Bradley Beal? Have to pay Bradley Beal max money for 6 years. Or how 4 years, how long it is.
See, I think this situation's a little different just because LeBron's like shelf life is so small.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
so
you have to win now.
Yeah, what are they going to do? And I feel like in a situation they say, okay, the best guy we can get is player Y. Get player Y.
And I think it's different too. Like the Lakers are coming from, like, granted they haven't been good in maybe like 5 years. They haven't been like a contender at all. But they're coming from a place where they've won a lot of championships, and the fans are going to want another one. The Knicks have been in misery for a good while. They want one dearly, but like, it's not the same kind of pressure.
Knicks fans would be happy with hope, where Lakers fans are not. Like Knicks fans would be completely okay with being like, oh yeah, in 3 years we're going to be awesome. But I mean, you have LeBron James on your team. Like you cannot sit there and just continually tread water, putting young talent around him. You have to go out and get another player. Which, quite frankly, at the number 4 pick, you could almost write your ticket. You know, I know that you're not going to get a superstar max money guy, but you could get some really, really good pieces to put around LeBron James, which at this point is just all you need. Especially if you're going to dip into the free agency. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So guys, biggest winner of draft night.
I have the Pelicans, the Lakers, and the tanker haters. I don't know if it's going to stop tanking, but it might hinder it a little bit.
I had the Pelicans for obvious reasons. I think the Grizzlies, though, with Ja Morant, that is so close to Murray State. And it's not that far from, he's from South Carolina, I think. It's almost like, I just feel like he was loved in Murray State. A lot of those people are still going to become Grizzlies fans. And
absolutely.
I think that's a promising thing. I don't know what they're going to do with Conley, but...
trading for, stuff to put around Morant.
But I think that's a promising place for him to go.
There you go.
That's all I'm going to get for him. They can't get Michael Conley for 4th pick in the draft.
That'd be interesting. Dude, they're paying Michael Conley so much money. I think it's easy to say. I think there's 2 players that are way better than everybody else. Biggest winner has to be the Pelicans, just because of the pieces that they have that they could put around Zion Williamson potentially. Because they do have Drew Holiday that they could use as trade bait, or they could keep him. And then they also have Anthony Davis that they can use as trade bait to put a ton of good talent, a ton of young talent around a guy like Zion and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, they were looking down the barrel of being another mediocre team, but now that they can get Ja Morant, who I think is going to be a superstar in the NBA, has to be probably the 2nd biggest winner of draft night.
And again, there's hope.
There's hope. And Grizzlies fans, they're like the Knicks fans. They will take the hope at this point because they've been so mediocre for so long. Biggest loser of draft night.
So I have a few down. Obviously, it's basically the Knicks, Cavs, Suns, Hawks, and Bulls. They all fell way behind the pick. Ultimately, I think the biggest one is the Knicks because for some reason, it was a conclusion that they won the lottery before the lottery even started.
Dude, did you not think that the Knicks had like a 50% chance to win the lottery going into that?
I got 95% chance. Like 95% chance they'll get Zion Williamson in this draft. And they had them with 3 picks, so they're still going to get very good players still, fortunately. But the fact that Everybody thought they would lock number one. They didn't get McFinn pick lose of the night.
Yeah, I think those top 3 teams with percent, but they were all like 14 or whatever. None of them finished in the top 6, or they were the top. I don't know, but the top teams did not do well in the lottery.
No, they didn't, dude. And I like that you brought that up. I felt like going into draft night, I'm like, man, the Knicks have so much better odds than everybody else. You check the odds. Top 3 teams have 14%. And it seemed, dude, Knicks fans were going out and getting tattoos. They were printing Zion Williamson jerseys, and like they were dead set that they were getting Zion, who they didn't even want. The management didn't even want Zion. They would have traded the pick immediately, which would have been the best thing ever. Like all these fans just getting all these jerseys, talking about how they're going to get Zion, and then the management didn't even want him. They were going to trade him immediately. So I think even though the Knicks thought that they had the best chance to win the lottery, I think that the biggest loser has to go to the Bulls.
Yeah, 7th pick again.
Yes, the 7th pick again. But ultimately, I think the one team that stands out above the rest would be the Suns. Because for some reason in my mind, I had already drawn it up that the Suns were going to get the number 2 pick.
I had
and
to.
the Suns have so much talent. I mean, every single position they have a guy who is a top 3-4 pick, and all they were missing is a real point guard, so they could get Devin Booker out of the primary ball handling role, and they could have gotten John Morant at 2. And I think if John Morant would have went at 2, this is a team that in 3 years we'd have been talking about the Suns being the best team in the NBA, and they're not going to get that. Yeah. I mean, they can take a crapshoot and hope that like a Kobe White's good, but John Morant was the only dead set guy at point guard that you're going to say he'll be an all-star, and they missed out on that.
In my head, Zion was a Knick and Morant was a
Son.
Yeah, I was already getting my John Morant jersey printed, man. That's a bummer. It really is.
Yeah, that one trip to Phoenix made me become a Suns fan, I think. So I was
hoping. I thought that would have been a fun team to watch. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and then you throw in John Morant into that mix. That would have been a fun team to watch. Yeah, Jackson, if he can stay out of trouble, that would have been fun. So, guys, one dream scenario that could happen: player-team combination.
So it's funny you said the Kobe White to the Suns thing, because that's what I have down. Everyone who knows Suns are my team, but I've been saying big things coming forming out for 3 seasons. Thought this was a year they was making progress. The odds did not happen with Kobe White, 6'5", tall, he can shoot the ball, handle the ball well, run the offense, take the ball out of Devin Booker's hands, be number 1. The Suns have a lot of good players. They have already a star in Devin Booker. They have a player who could be a star in DeAndre Ayton. They Markel Business, who had a pretty underwhelming rookie campaign, but could become a very good player in the future. So Kobe White to the Suns. It's my pick.
I thought John Morant to just somewhere west. I thought the Lakers would have been kind of a neat place for him to be, just with the bright lights, and then I think Phoenix would have been a really good fit. But since neither of those are going to happen, I think honestly, putting the 2 Duke guys on the Pelicans is probably where I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah,
just let them grow up together, and
I think that would actually be a really cool thing, and that would be like a 30 for 30 in the making, 20 years from now.
Either that, or they'd be the Raptors with Vince Carter and T-Mac.
That's still fun to watch.
Yeah,
I mean that's still fun to watch.
Makes for a good 2K team.
I think that I think Leighton hit it on the head there with what I was feeling was Kobe White to the Suns, kind of give him another player who could develop into being a superstar, especially at the point guard position, which is what they lack. And another one that I think is really interesting, a guy named Ball, before he got hurt, was just absolutely killing college basketball. I mean, he's 7'2", Manute Bol's son, blots out the sun, swat everything. He's going to fall in the draft, and I think if the Pacers can nab him at 14, I will be the happiest man probably on the face of the earth that's a Pacers fan, because then you're going to have Miles Turner down there defending the rim. Whenever he comes out to defending the rim, you have Ball, and then you have Sabonis.
He'd be a good compliment to Sabonis and Turner because he can shoot a little bit better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He can shoot better than both those guys, probably combined. So I think that would be a dream scenario for a team that's outside of the lottery, for a guy that could actually land there and potentially be one of the best 5 players out of this draft. So, guys, it is time. We'll play a little darts. Pew, 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 pew. We're playing darts, baby. Each week, we each throw a dart at the dartboard. Leighton C., what is the game for today?
This week we're going to play Sauce Cup Time Machine. That's the name of the game that I came up with.
Okay, so what is it called?
Sauce Cup Time Machine.
Sauce Cup Time Machine.
Yep.
Okay.
I will need some instructions.
How we're going to throw this?
You played it before, I think.
Maybe I have.
I don't know if I played this.
Yeah, it's the Chronicle Order game.
Oh, okay. Chronicle Order.
I just named it.
Okay, you just now named it. Okay, so the way that this will work, we will each throw a dart at the dartboard. Each number on the dartboard will represent something, and we will break it down when these events will happen in chronological order. Since this takes more time to kind of decipher through, we all only throw 2 darts apiece. So, without further ado, everybody, your dart. We have a 10, we have a 4, and we have an 18.
The 10, Kyler Murray attends MLB spring training.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
The 4, Bryce Harper was traded out of Philly. And the 18, Ben Simmons makes 2 threes in a game.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll lead it off.
All right.
The first one to happen is Ben Simmons makes 2 threes.
That's a lot of
We'll
pressure on
even
Ben
shoot
Simmons.
2 threes in
Will
the
he
game.
even shoot 2?
That's
That's the first one to happen. The second one, I'm fearful the other one's never going to happen. I'm gonna go the spring training one. No, I'm gonna do Bryce Harper wants a trade out and then spring training.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Bryce Harper trade out of Philly as the first one that happens. Just because Bryce is always very coddled in Washington, and Philly fans already boo him a few times this season, so I can see him in 2 or 3 years. Don't work out, might want out of there. Then I'm going to have the Kyler Murray go to spring training because NFL players just do that now because it kind of seems cool for them all to do. Like, Russell Wilson goes to the Yankees spring training every year.
Yeah, but that's cute. When he does it, it's cute because he was like a 20th round pick.
Okay.
Kyler Murray is a guy who's going to walk in the door and they're going to be like, wait, we picked him with our first pick of the
7th
draft?
pick overall.
Like,
Okay, true. I'm gonna change that then.
when Russell Wilson did it, and there were a few other guys who've done it, it's cute.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we get to hang around this star quarterback. It's not, hey, this guy screwed me out of $2 million because I got drafted
Okay.
below him.
True, yeah. So, Murray didn't have the balls to ever go to MLB spring training.
No.
Me thinking that now. So then Ben Simmons makes 2 threes in the game, and then Kyle goes to spring training.
Yeah, so I'm going to go, oh, man, this is tough. I'm going to
I
say,
think Simmons will do it next year.
I think Ben Simmons is going to do it first, just because I think he's going to get lucky and hit a 3, and then he's going to end up having to like do a last second heave at the basket and make one, which will give him his 2. And then the next one, I'm going to go Bryce Harper once out of Philly, and then Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray has the stones to walk into the Coliseum and basically take on the Oakland Raider fans and the A fans. That's going to be a bad look. I don't think he has the stones to do that.
So at this point in his career, Ben Simmons has shot 2 threes in the game once, and
One of them had to have been last second.
You've just gotta think on this offseason. That is like a big part of his training.
You'd think that's the only thing that he would do.
that's all you focus. That and sprints. Just stay in shape and shoot threes.
How do you think that would go? Kyler Murray walks in there. I mean, dude, Kyler Murray could be the best quarterback in the NFL over the next 6 years, and I don't think the A's are going to welcome him with open arms, knowing that he's not going to come actually play.
I don't think there's any way that...
It's a shame he wasn't drafted by the Marlins because he could have just gone to the game. Like 5 people would have seen him and then
And then leave.
Walked
Did you
out.
see that the Marlins actually have a lower
in
attendance
the
than
AAA affiliate. Yeah.
a AAA affiliate? Did you see that, Leighton?
I did not.
The Marlins actually have a lower attendance numbers than, I think it's the Las Vegas Aviators.
Okay.
It was
So-
like if I think about it, just been for one game, it was like 6,900 people or something.
Yeah, it was bad. I thought it was like 9,000.
Maybe it was
actually.
96. Yeah, it was something in that range. But.
Pretty funny. So, all right. So, second order throws.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to the page. Hold on. No, okay, ready?
We have a 12. We have a 2. And we have a 16.
Okay. The 12 is the Jets trade Le'Veon Bell.
Adam Gase is there, so there's no telling.
2, Antonio Brown says he's better than the Raiders' next best player. And 6...
Has he not already done that?
I think he might have already.
Mr. Big Chest.
And number 16, Team USA places silver or worse at basketball in the Olympics.
That's coming soon.
You think so?
Oh, dude. I mean, dude, you throw like 4 decent players around the Greek Freak. Do you not think they have a prayer?
I feel like Australia's the biggest threat. Then with Canada.
Dude, remember whenever Canada, everybody thought Canada was going to be really good because they had Anthony Bennett and Andrew Wiggins. That flamed out fast.
That was good. Okay, so, okay. I don't think Team USA will ever not win gold in basketball.
That'll happen again.
I mean, it could
but
happen
I think
again.
The other 2 guys will be retired first.
So I'm going to go number 1, Antonio Brown, says he's best player in the Raiders.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's already done that.
You've already done that. Might not
So
heard, but
that one
okay.
doesn't count.
I'm
So
gonna take
That
that.
one's number 1.
Okay. Then
I think Bell gets traded next.
the military next year, then USA. Because, I mean, we're the next Olympics next year,
2020, right?
2020. So 2024, I'd say the earliest we don't win gold.
I'm pretty sure that Australia didn't even want Ben Simmons on their national team.
Right?
I read that like a
was
day
their
or two
focus shooting?
It's just the floor. He's a waste of space.
He kind of is. And dude, I know whenever I play with him on 2K, I don't want him on my team. He's a waste of space for me. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and pencil Antonio Brown's already said that. Then I'm gonna say that I don't think. You know what? Le'Veon Bell's not gonna get traded because nobody's gonna want to trade for that. So I think that will be third because it's never gonna happen. And then I think that USA will not win gold in basketball, even though I like seeing them dominate every single year. We're starting to get into that weird spot where there are actual other superstars outside of Dirk that have come from other countries. So
Well, and Spain is out of Gasol's, so
yeah,
So yeah, they're out for at least a decade now. We're with them for at least 3 Olympics.
yeah, we won't have to deal with them. Well, I don't know, man. Mark played like 40 minutes in a playoff
What
game
is it?
recently. So
2032. Look for Spain for certain for the Olympics.
I actually like that game. So the Sauce Cup
Time machine.
Time Machine. Okay. So that's the
Name-
new name for it.
Name might be changeable, but that's what it is.
So NFL news, guys. The Jets are the Jets for a reason. After they let him control free agency and the draft, the Jets fire their general manager immediately and give the job to Adam Gase. What the hell? That's all I have written.
Dude, I don't fucking know. Like,
Bad.
obviously they're putting all their eggs in the Adam Gase basket because he was good with Ryan Tannehill in Miami and Coach Peyton Manning. Or Peyton Manning led his offense.
He was good with
it
Tannehill.
was basically make our picks, use our cap, and then we're going to cut
Yeah,
you.
he was
Yeah.
500 with Tannehill.
Then we're going to play with the cards you dealt us.
He was 500 Tannehill, trouble with anybody else, but Peyton Manning made him look good. That's what Adam Gase's career has been.
He was bad with Jay Cutler. He was bad with every other quarterback.
The only quarterback he had in Miami with a winning record, I think, was like Tannehill, like 14-11 or something.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
500 was just over 500.
Yeah, and the other guys were all below.
There's a reason why general managers are general managers and coaches are coaches. Like, you cannot evaluate talent and coach a football team at the same time. You look at it time and time again where, like, coaches don't have the time to evaluate talent. They're barely getting the best players out on the field. I mean, we look at Nick Saban, maybe the best coach in college football history. He wasn't even starting the right quarterback for a whole season. You know, like, guys don't have that much time to evaluate talent. And now you're going to just give him everything.
Yeah, my problem, like, I don't know, like, I don't care that they fire the GM and give him the responsibilities. I don't care about that. He's probably just as good doing it the other guy was. I don't know the guy's name. But the fact that the reason to give him the responsibilities is why it bothers me. Not that they fired a guy and gave him these to him, just that what has he done to prove that he deserves these?
Nothing. A lot of mediocre football.
Well, the coach I can think of the fastest that was doing both was Doc Rivers in LA. They gave him the title of, like, he was either GM or president of basketball operations.
Adam Gase doesn't have a son, does he?
But Doc Rivers, after he stepped out of the management role and went just back to coach, he was like, my life's 1,000 times easier. I can really focus on coaching. He said, you can't do both at once. And it's like, that's
Unless you're Bill Belichick.
one of the better coaches we've seen, and I don't know if Adam Gase has it in him to pull that one off.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You know, it just has the makings that Adam Gase has a son, and he's going to be starting quarterback there for, you know, just take over Sam Darnold's job immediately. But, you know, Adam Gase's first thing he did whenever he walks out there, he takes a guy in Duron Lee who was a number 1 pick for this team just a few years ago, and he's started 36 games, has 238 tackles. I mean, that's not like blow you away stats, but that's better than a 6th round pick, and that's what he traded him for. So I don't get what Adam Gase is going to do there. He's already came out and said that he didn't like the fact that they paid for a running back and basically made that like public knowledge. So I think this is going to flounder bad. I think that they're going to have to get somebody in the general manager role almost immediately. Otherwise, they're going to have a guy who's trying to split his responsibilities too thin. He's already not a great coach, so he's just going to be in trouble. What do you guys think about his comments on Le'Veon Bell, though?
Really confusing to me, because Le'Veon Bell, like, it's not like he just got there like 3 or 4 years ago. He got there like yesterday, basically.
Yes.
So they haven't taken a single snap from him yet. He's already saying he doesn't want him there for that much money. And meanwhile, Lev's just like, hey, shit, I'm getting paid. Just give me the lot, coach.
Yeah, I don't know who he said it to or how it got out, but people, they've got to know at this point when you say something like that, the media's going to find out about it, the public's going to find out about it.
Yeah, things get out, people want him to get out. So,
But I mean, he's the best player on your offense, maybe the best player on your team. You probably shouldn't be saying that. I mean, I can understand where he's coming from. I've said so many times in a row that you probably shouldn't pay running backs, but I mean, you paid him.
but you're also not his
Yes.
coach.
You signed him,
Yes,
and you got a young quarterback, so you might as well use him.
Yeah, you're going to have to use him, and to come out and say this before he's even played it down for your team, I feel like it's going to turn this guy who's turned on a franchise before against the coach, which is something that you do not want. I mean, what did you want the team to do? Give you Elijah McGuire and Trenton Cannon as your starting running backs? I mean, is that really what you wanted? You didn't want Le'Veon Bell? I don't think Le'Veon Bell's worth that kind of money, but you don't go out and say it after you already have him. So I think this was an absolute bad move by Adam Gase. It's a rookie move, which he is a rookie GM. So we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, why start a trade rumor with the guy they got there, a prolific free agent they got there a month ago?
Yeah, maybe the biggest name free agent.
Just why?
The part about it is how he got the job. Later that day, he traded the lead dude for a 6th-round pick. And the next day, he didn't want Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. The Jets are the Jets for a reason. That's how we started this segment. That's how we'll end this segment. So, guys, it is time for our shittiest take of the sports week. We watch a lot of sports television. We listen to a lot of sports radio. And we will bring you the shittiest take of the week.
All right, so I'll go first. Mine is kind of skeptical because it's not absolutely about this, but it probably is. So, Ben Roethlisberger, issued an apology recently. Took a team out to his lake house this past week. Antonio Brown went on Twitter and tweeted out Two-Face. I'm pretty confident about Ben Roethlisberger being a two-faced kind of guy. But, Antonio, maybe not two-faced. Maybe he's kind of changed. Because, the three of us sitting here have all done some immature, stupid things, when we in our adolescent years. And if we had those same circumstances brought to us today, we'd definitely probably do some things differently. But Roethlisberger sees the timeline one down his career. Maybe he just said, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be this diva anymore. Maybe I should try and make friends with my teammates. So this year, the locker room is, not the talk of this week, every week in the NFL. And he can win more Super Bowl in the last 2 or 3 years playing the game. So maybe Antonio Brown, maybe they've been just growing up a little bit, like people do, and you just don't want to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've got two. One is from Colin Cowherd. He went on a 2 or 3 minute rant talking about how Kawhi Leonard doesn't make players around him better. I just think that's horseshit. If you can guard the best player on the other team and save your teammates from having to do that, and you can be the number one option on offense, if you can guard the other team's best player and draw their best defender, how are your teammates not going to have better games? They're going to have lesser defenders on them every single time. And I feel like you see the best defender in the league possibly go out there and just bust his ass, it's going to make you play better defense. It just is. I think he leads by example. And then Magic, when he said he still thinks LeBron's going to win that chip, I don't think he's going to, Magic. I don't think that's a very good take. You wouldn't be running from it if you thought he was going to win it in the next 2 or 3 years.
No, well, that's a terrible take, actually, because why in the world would you leave a franchise that is going to win a championship in the next 3 years? If you solely believe that, you would have just stayed with that team and tried to be the reason for the championship. So I'm having some trouble finding Skip Bayless's tweet.
May he delete it.
I think he may have deleted it. I screenshotted it, and maybe he even went into my phone and deleted it.
Some top-level stuff if I Skip Bayless this week.
I could actually see... Oh, man. I can't find it. But, Okay, here we go.
Money in the bank.
Here we go. Okay. So, Skip Bayless, 4 days ago, tweeted... I love Skip Bayless tweets, especially whenever he's talking about number 2. He no longer refers to Kawhi Leonard as Kawhi Leonard on Twitter. Only number 2. Only calls him number 2 whenever he's on his show. Guys, if you don't follow Skip Bayless, you have to. Okay, so, Skip Bayless. That was some fourth quarter by Toronto's number 2. 2 points on a follow of his own miss. Just can't trust him when it really matters. Toronto was up 6 to the fourth, but the North, went south. Okay, so Kawhi Leonard cannot be trusted in the fourth quarter. Boys, here's a tweet from Skip Bayless, March 7th, 2017. Kawhi Leonard is the silent assassin. Lets his fourth quarter dominance do the talking. Just give him the ball, get out of his way, big clutch game.
I think somebody's butt hurt.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, keep in mind, this is the same guy who said that he can't take LeBron in a big game. LeBron had a bad final series against the Mavericks and a bad playoff series against the Magic.
I love
So you
it.
take all the game of salt for Skip.
The more sour breakup, which one? Antonio Brown from the Steelers or Skip Bayless from Kawhi Leonard?
Oh, man, that's tough.
Yeah, and if I knew LeBron had to be quiet.
Dude, could you imagine if Ezekiel Elliott did what Le'Veon Bell did, but to the Cowboys? He would have a new public enemy number one.
Oh, he'd have him on a cross. He'd be done. Yeah.
He'd be toast. I thought that was something funny that I had to share. I had screenshot it a few days ago. Can't find it in my screenshot, so I had to go back through Skip Bayless' Twitter account. I think he came into my phone and deleted it. Didn't want me to get that information out there. But,
He's typing on shit
Could have been
take.
Ernestine too. Maybe that's what she does.
yeah, Ernestine, the silent assassin, sneaking into people's screenshots and deleting my dumbass tweets. Oh, man. So, guys, this is a little read the room moment of the week. Cassius Stanley. He's a top recruit from Sierra Canyon and a Duke commit. He posts a video of him going to prom in a Lamborghini.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Nope. Just keep scrolling.
Just keep on scrolling. You know what this reminds me of? Remember when
LeBron's Hummer.
LeBron's mom had a pink Hummer before he had ever played a game.
LeBron had a black Hummer.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I remember LeBron's mom's pink Hummer. How?
Hey, man.
I don't get it. And to not have the wherewithal, like in 2019, like, hey, people are going to see this on Instagram. Just go ahead and throw it out there.
I wish that was all these years later. I wish LeBron was to say, yeah, I'm not got that Hummer.
Okay, so I will say this. There's an app called Turo, Turo, and it's basically like Airbnb but for rental cars. And you can get Teslas, Lamborghinis, Porsches, anything like that. And for Lamborghini for a day right here, this is the first one that came up, $599.
Oh, so you can actually rent that for $500?
Yeah, so maybe he rented it. I don't know.
Huh.
But
I feel like Turo is riskier than Airbnb.
he either rented it or he is getting illegal money from Duke.
I'm going to go with legal money.
I thought we were going to go with 2.
Yeah, but now I will say the only thing that I can say is that this team does have like a ton of like actual like NBA players' sons on it. This team actually jumped to my eye the other day. I was looking at their roster. They have Scottie Pippen Jr., Kenyon Martin Jr., and then there were a few other people whose sons had played. Their fathers had played professionally. The only way that he can keep his nose clean, and Coach K, is if that's what happened here. Because I think that's kind of weird. Just cruising around in a Lamborghini going to prom.
No.
Top basketball recruit. I'm putting Coach K on the hot seat now.
Coach K's got to be like shaking in his 100-year-old boots.
Yeah, shaking in his back brace because he had to have another back surgery after that game against Michigan State.
I'm pretty sure I do the same Abbey my senior prom. So if I was a basketball player, I could on Lambo.
Yeah, if you were a top player, you'd have been driving a Lamborghini.
Okay.
It's a step up from a Malibu, I think.
Quite a step up.
Yeah, I saw that picture and I'm
Hey,
like,
Diesel, how much they say Malibu on Turo?
I'd really
It's probably like $40, $50.
$50 for the day. Leighton C cruising into prom, looking hot in his Malibu. So, guys, we will officially give our quarter of the way MLB power rankings. We really haven't. We've talked about specific teams. Haven't really had any debates on like which teams are good, which teams are bad. So, the way we're going to do this, we're going to start off at team number 1, work it down to 5, and we're going to debate until we have a clear-cut 1 through 5 team power ranking. So, Leighton C, number 1 team in the MLB. Who do you got?
The Houston Astros. They score a lot of runs. They give up like no runs. So Houston.
Yeah, my Houston Astros they got plus 92 run differential, best in the MLB.
So
and they'd have the best winning percentage too. Either them or the Twins.
Yeah, I think they do have the best record in baseball. So keep in mind, whenever I do this, there's 5 things I look at: record, how often you get on base, how often you cross home plate, how often teams get hits off your pitching, and how many runs you allow. Those are base.
So
that's
runs and whip is like keys here.
Yes, realistically, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I like
And
to look
OBP.
at. Because-
OBP is a hell of an indicator.
OBP
of
is
success.
big, too.
Yes, OBP is huge. Like people always talk about averages, and averages doesn't. I mean, it does matter, but it really doesn't mean shit. Like if a guy has like a 120 batting average, but he's getting on base at like a 420 clip, like that helps. So those are the things I look at. Houston, best record in the MLB, so they check the box there. They get on base more than anybody else in the league, and they allow fewer hits than anyone else. And they've had two 10-win win streaks. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive this early in baseball. So, team number 2, who do we like?
I'm going to go ahead and do it, and you guys won't like it because you know what this means for your team. But the Chicago Cubs, number 2, just since our April 15th to 12th, was absolute cannon fire. Pitching great, hitting great. Chris Brown made me look really smart. Be the MVP, I think, in the season. So, number 2 team, Chicago Cubs. So, it says that, though, here in 2 weeks, there'll be like, I don't know, 4 for the last 18.
I've got the Dodgers. I think Bellinger is a big X
We're
factor. Their bullpen's pretty much always good. That's kind of their pitching has kind of been what got them where it's gotten them the past couple of years. I don't see them having a long postseason. I just think they're in a shit division and they kind of beat up on them. But right now, I think Dodgers are 2 for me.
I actually agree with the Dodgers at 2.
And this would be the Dodgers' third season of the postseason after going back to the World Series. So that's a lot of.
That scares me a lot.
It's a lot of baseball.
It's funny that you mentioned that you don't think that they're going to have postseason success because one of the things that I actually put in my little bit about the team, Cody Bellinger is hitting over 400, who's leading MVP candidate, has to be at this point. He's hitting over 400, has a lifetime 172 average in the postseason. I think they're the most volatile team in my top 5, just because I think that they can do that. They've had a knack to do that in the past. And the 5 things that I talk about, they have the 3rd best record in the MLB, and they're in the top 5 in runs, OBP, ERA, and batting average against. So that's why I have the Dodgers at 2. Leighton C, are you okay with the Dodgers moving to 2?
They were 2B to the Cubs in 2A. I can't not put much of the debate into it there, but right now they're playing a 7-game series. I'd definitely take the Cubs.
I would,
and that's what I looked at, so that's why I said the Cubs at 2.
Personally, I think since the Cubs 1-6 start, they've been the best team in baseball.
Absolutely.
But they did start 1-6.
Yep, you cannot write that off. Like had you taken away our pitching performances from them, I guarantee the Cubs would be in top 5 in all these.
I struggle to put the Cubs at 2 right now because the back end of the bullpen is still a big question mark.
Yeah. So, Jake, are you going to say in a take that Cody Bellinger will hit under 300?
I'm staying on that. Yeah, he's going to hit under 300.
Okay.
The guy hits 172 in the postseason for a reason.
If right now he's batting 400.
I know. I'm staying on it.
It's still very possible. So
It
it's
is.
only May 20th.
How quick did Mookie Betts raise his batting average?
Like warp speed.
Yeah.
Like if he 167 to like 300 in like a week and a half. It was nuts.
Okay, well it can go the opposite way too, Leighton C.
Yeah.
So team number 3, I have the Cubs here.
I had the Dodgers.
I went with the Twins. Reason I went with the Twins is because they're 15-8 at home, 15-8 at home, 15-8 on the road. All these other teams at the top they're about 500 on the road. And I don't know if that's sustainable, but I think it puts them ahead of some of these other teams for me.
Diesel was trying harder to notch into the Cubs. That was the Sox last year.
Yes, Diesel would have the Cubs at team number 30.
So number 30 is Chicago Cubs. Just finding the Marlins. No, I had the Twins at 4.
I have the Cubs at 4.
Second most runs. They allowed bomb 10 runs allowed. This is not a fluke. This is a real deal thing, I think, now.
I think the Twins should have been good for about 3 years in a row, but they kind of... some things have happened to them where they weren't.
The only thing I have against...
Byron Buxton was terrible for ever, and he was the top prospect in the MLB for 15 years.
The one thing I go against the Twins, the more you play like 3 good teams, really, Cleveland, New York, and Houston, and they're losing record against both New York and Cleveland. So playing in the AL Central definitely helps the record, I think, right now. They could level out. But right now, they're kind of the real deal.
Do you want to hear a crazy stat about the Cubs?
I love crazy stats.
Okay, so out of the 4 things that I account for, the Cubs are one of the 3 teams that are in the top 10 of the MLB in every single one of them. And the Cubs actually have 10 guys that have had 99 or more plate appearances this year. And 9 of those 10 players have an on-base percentage better than 300.
Not bad.
It's not a stat a lot of people
crazy.
know about, really, but I'm a pretty strong believer that the stat weighted runs created plus is the best way to evaluate the best hitters in the league. And 100 is league average. The Cubs have 4 of the top 12 in the National League. So 4 of the top 12 offensive players on the Cubs. I've got them at 4 because of the bullpen questions.
Yeah.
But the Cubs offense is something else right now. It really is. Baez and Contreras are both hitting like 325, and they're hitting the shit
They
out
have
of the
4
ball.
guys with 11 or more home runs.
Yeah.
I don't think too many teams in the MLB, that might be the only team in the MLB that can say that. Because I tried to even do a little cross comparison, like teams with the most home runs, they only had like 1 or 2 guys hitting most of them and a couple guys sprinkled in after that.
But what's crazy is how willing they are to go the other way, and they scored on, I think
That's why their on base percentage
I think it was 5 sacrifice hits they scored on in one of these games against the Nationals.
Yeah.
It's like sac flies, sac bunts, but like you're playing small ball when you got sluggers. Like that's a good combo. You walk, you hit home runs, and you can move guys up.
Yeah. So we kind of have the top 1 through 4. I think the Twins are for real. Diesel, you think the Twins are here to stay?
I think they're 3. Yeah, I think they're for real.
I think the Twins are here to stay, and they've kind of been interesting about that. The only thing that I will say about the Twins that scares me a little bit, one guy in their everyday players is hitting over 280. They just hit bombs. Mm-hmm. They lead the MLB in extra base hits. I think they're second in home runs. So I mean, they're not out there like the Cubs.
Slugging is most important. Slugging will be big.
Oh yeah. So team number 5, guys, who do you have?
I'm going with the Yankees. So the Yankees' whole team was hurt, but they just called up the next guy from fucking high A. He hits a 400-foot home run the next day. I don't know how they have just this surplus of guys who hit 450-foot bombs in the minor league system, but every guy they call up it's the shut out baseball.
Yeah.
Cork bats. That's what it is.
I went Yankees too. Basically, this spot was just kind of designated for the top team in the AL East.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's gonna be firepower coming out of that division, and right now it's just the Yankees.
Yeah, and it seems like quite a few guys are going to be coming back soon, like health wise. I think Judge actually like threw the ball for the first time recently, and I think Didi's coming back.
So
and
what's going on with Severino?
Severino, I don't think he's even throwing a baseball still yet.
He might have been set back to like 60 days.
Yeah, then Stanton hurt his bicep or something, or we'll be able to think something else. So he's really injured. Andujar's out for the year. He had a surgery on his foot.
Yeah.
Random, but Cespedes fractured his ankle today in like a ranch accident.
Yeah, at his ranch.
Well, that's not good. Yeah, I have 5 Yankees. I agree with that. I almost went with the Rays. Did you? So this was probably the craziest stat that I've seen this MLB season outside of Cody Bellinger hitting over 400. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, their team ERA is 2.98.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insanity.
Really good, and that's without it's gonna go up now. Glasnow's out for 4 or 5 more weeks, but yeah, it's still very extremely good.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's under 3,
if your team ERA is under 3, one guy's not gonna. I mean, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but it's not gonna kill you.
The Reds too. What a surprise there with their pitching.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
everybody thought it'd be the other way around.
Fun stat: how many Silver Sluggers do you think Joey Votto has won?
At least a couple, right?
I'm gonna go like 3.
He's won none.
None?
Yep. I would never guess that.
Did you know Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young award?
Yep. Those are like the 2 craziest things.
I saw that yesterday.
That's crazy. That is wild. I can't believe that. His position's just deep.
Yeah, it's weird.
He had Pujols for a while that beat him, and then
he had Freeman and Rizzo and Goldschmidt.
But hey, if it's
what like the worst time to get in on that position? That's crazy.
Any team sucks too, then that never helps.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. It might increase your pay. If other teams start paying that spot, you might get good checks. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost have to. I mean, you look at the running back position, how volatile that is to pay every 5 years. They're either paying them or not. So, guys, it is time to put our producer in the spotlight. Each week, he goes out and he watches movies. Maybe not 1, maybe not 2, maybe 3 or 4. And he comes in and he breaks down a movie for us each week. Wait and see what do you got.
I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones from last night. So people, this is Knuckle Sandwich.
Bring it full circle.
People know the Knuckle Sandwich know I've not been happy with the show this season, but not because of the plot points, because of how they got into the plot points. So, last episode could be about as underwhelming you can imagine it being this episode. It's my least favorite episode of Game of Thrones.
And it was the last one?
Yeah, my least favorite one. And I knew I wasn't going to like it because I haven't liked the episode this season, really. So why would it be satisfying? So it starts off, we talked about last week on Knuckle Sandwich about how Danny destroyed King's Landing. They end that whole issue in like 5 minutes by just having John Killer in the first 2 minutes of the episode. So I really didn't like that. Then they go on to this fast forward 2 weeks. So what's going to happen next? And John's a prisoner. So basically all the family houses come to King's Landing, meet in this big circle. And Tyrion, actually the prisoner at this moment in time, says, just pick a new king. Just pick one. So they all just take a vote right there, and decide who the new king of the world is.
And they've been looking for one for 9 years?
They haven't for 9 years, but it's been a fight for it. Because people want the power, Drake. People looking at the show. More of the show in the end was power corrupts people. And then, so, how did they decide? Tyrion Lannister gives his one speech, and that's enough for everybody there. Every high power person can go. It's just like, yeah, we'll vote for this kid who no one saw for like 6 years and is now in a wheelchair and can't build children. And that's a good thing, I guess, they can't build children, because evidently, children of kings are bastards. Which is true for the whole shit of the show. And then, basically, the Stark kids split up. Jon goes to the north, Sansa's king in the north. Arya goes out west, and Van's king of the land. So, that's how it ended. It was about the most underwhelming thing to a show that we're never going to see again. We're never going to have a show that this was a cultural phenomenon as this was.
Debatable.
What before this was ever this big?
Eastbound and Down. If they come out with a season 4, it's going to absolutely light this on
They made 4 seasons.
3.
They made 4. They came back.
No, because he had Kenny.
Yep.
Just the normal Kenny trying to make the MLB.
Yep.
Like
and then he went to Mexico.
Yep.
And then he went to Myrtle Beach.
Yep, and then he came back and was on TV.
What?
For the full season, he came back and he wasn't on my house. He was a TV analyst.
I don't remember
And
that.
then remember Kitty cutting in?
I thought that was part of the Myrtle Beach.
No, after that. Cause
Oh, okay, well, if they made another one,
and then they made 5th season, yeah, no.
they'll reel me back
we're
in.
never going to have a show,
Like Sopranos, however you say it. That was probably...
Breaking Bad is probably...
As much as it's weird to say, with how much they make an episode, Big Bang Theory. Those people make some money.
We get a lot of money.
A lot of people watch that.
But for like cultural relevance, like Breaking Bad started getting popular right whenever like Twitter became a humongous thing, everybody tweeting about it. And then now, flash forward, how many years has it been? 6, 7 years since that show ended? Everybody in the world has social media now. Everybody tweets again every single week, and everybody watches it. People name their freaking kids Daenerys and Khaleesi and...
Or their cats, Mountain and Hound.
It can be, yeah.
Yes.
They catch that shit, but not just cats, like freaking actually kids on names and areas. And
You know how awesome this is now that you're gonna have to live with the cats named Mountain and Hound for the rest of your life, and just think, man, that last season sucked.
it didn't suck though.
Every time you look at them, you're gonna say, man, that was a disappointment.
So last season did not suck. It was very good TV. It could never live up to the standards that the show itself made. People don't like it because they didn't get what they wanted, and now people know today that millennials are little babies and they get what they want, and they get what they wanted, and they shot it on Twitter. And that really triggered Drake on social media last night. So Drake said there were over 100 hours of the show. Drake, you're wrong. They're actually under 80 hours of the show.
I'm sorry.
That's a whole day less.
I'm sorry.
Whole day less. But no, Game of Thrones, last episode, we get 1.5 dips. Season gets like, I don't know, 2. The show gets 3 still. It's not fair. I've never been that emotionally invested in a show or anything like that before. I've never been that obsessed with a world. Like people have said with Star Wars, I'm obsessed with that world.
Okay, well, that's weird. Now you can get back to watching nighttime NBA basketball on Sundays.
You know what's a shame for you, Leighton?
What?
That Universal Studios can't recreate it all because it's not their thing.
Oh, could you imagine Leighton going to the throne?
Like the Harry Potter world there is pretty cool. I don't even like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But that'd be your thing.
That'd be awesome.
That would
Could
be
you
cool to go
imagine
see.
Leighton
Even if you
into-
hadn't watched it, it'd be awesome to go see.
Leighton C walking into the throne.
I remember whenever I met Mookie Betts at the Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame like 5 years ago, I lost my breath and just said, "Oh my gosh, Mookie Betts hit my best friend just as hard as I possibly could out of excitement." That probably overtake that moment in time.
You walking into the throne. Leighton walking into the north.
Like, oh my god, look at it, it's a throne, knock my girlfriend out. Sorry.
All right, so any bold predictions for this sports week?
Red Sox don't lose a game this week. I like it. 7-0.
Straight off of my gut, the Blues are going to collapse.
Oh, they're 3-0.
St. Louis
Or
franchise.
3-1
man.
or something.
I think it's 3-2,
3-2. Okay.
and they're going back home.
That's the first time I think hockey's been mentioned in a while on this show.
Very seldom to talk about.
Oh, okay. I'll play off of that one. One bold prediction I have is that hockey Twitter will be back on their bullshit. Every night I see them mad about a call or something like that. Talking about, oh, they can't replay this, they can't replay this. I feel like the same people that are hockey fans are the people that turn their back on the NFL and the MLB because they have the replay. So now that your sport does not have replay, we're going to get mad about that.
It's going to have replay.
Yes.
I guarantee you
People
next
just
season.
they want what they don't have, man.
Exactly. And everybody's okay. Everybody hates the replay thing until guess what? We need replay. So I think Hockey Twitter is going to be back on it at some point this week. And my bold prediction for this week is that the Warriors shut it down in 4 and the Bucks shut it down in 5. And we're going to have a Bucks-Warriors finals. And I can't be more excited about that.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah, here's some food for thought for everybody before they leave. Hockey fans are just soccer fans, but they drink beer, they're heavier in weight, and they have beards.
I can see that. 100%.
Yep. They very seldom play this what they're cheering for. They just came out of woodwork over the past 5 or 6 years, and all of a sudden it's a new cool thing.
Yeah. They move to a new city, and that team happens to be good, and that's the only sport that they have.
And the big fans at an amateur level are in cold places.
Yes.
Yeah, the true fans. So anything else before we wrap this bad boy up?
Nope, that's my piece.
Okay. And on that note, for Drake, for Diesel, and Leighton C., as always, Dippers, stay saucy.